Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 5 U.S. carrier Bogue. 2 squadrons with 6 aircraft each, 1 fighter, 1 torpedo squadron build I'm using, 2 secondary guns, 45 AA guns, a top speed of 16.9 knots, total health 36,500, modules use 10% more effective guns on my fighters, for my commander, basic survivability, faster torpedo rearm, and dogfighting expert. We are on the map Fault Line, and I spawned it on the east, so I'm going to head south with my squadrons. Early on, you really don't have a lot of options in the US line. I've chosen to stick with torpedoes. I think torpedo bombers are the best, and any build that makes me drop those, I don't want to have any use of them. I've tried only fighters, or nearly only fighters, and I've found that you don't score a lot of points. Because sometimes the enemy won't have carriers, and you're just scouting, and the game currently doesn't really award scouting. If I keep a destroyer spotted, for instance, which you should do, you don't get any bonus for damage done to that target, even though without you, the target wouldn't have been spotted. So this Kuma tries to turn into my torpedoes. He closes the distance on one, but another one makes contact when it was active. We cause flooding. We also cause them to basically sail into the island. So the friendly, with the torpedo bombers that you can see at the top of the screen, should have an ideal target to do damage with. Now I use manual drop. You use manual drop by pressing Alt and then clicking. Usually manual drop is more accurate, and it'll allow you to have multiple torpedoes make contact with an enemy ship. The manual drop for US carriers is much more effective, in my opinion, than the manual drop with Japanese carriers, because the amount, as you can see, 6 torpedoes versus the 4 that you get with Japanese. I find myself landing a lot more torpedoes, and generally I can almost one-shot most ships with my US torpedo attack versus the Japanese torpedo attack. A lot of times with the Japanese you want to use pincers, or you want to overload with multiple squadrons in order to do equivalent damage. So, rearming my torpedoes, and I'm using my fighters just trying to protect my friendlies. Fighters are great for spotting. I love to hold my fighters over an enemy destroyer to keep him spotted. It's probably the best use for a fighter when you don't have enemy fighters to take on. Now, it does require a little micromanaging, because you can't assign your fighters to an enemy squadron like you can with an ally. If you click on an ally or yourself, they will basically hover over the ship. They will follow it wherever it wants to go. You can't do this with enemy ships, but you can, if you've played RTSs, feel comfortable about moving your camera around the map and controlling it while doing multiple things, which you will definitely need to do late tier when you have control of 5, 6, 7, 8 squadrons at the same time. Now, I'm thinking I've got a huge advantage. I'm engaged with the enemy, equal tier, over a friendly aircraft carrier. And as you can see, it's not going so well. We take out one, and we lose one. You know, this is how it goes, and I figure it would be a no contest with the friendly carrier right next to me. But the friendly carrier probably doesn't have an upgraded hull. The early carriers are very painful in many regards. They can't carry a lot of replenishment for the fighter squadrons when they get knocked out. They also don't carry a lot of AA. And you should carry a lot of AA as an aircraft carrier, because a lot of aircraft are going to fly around you. So it's a little weird. But it's a push, right? We started with one less fighter, and he's got one more than us. So we've got our torpedo, and we're sending it out. We see these battleships. Love picking on battleships. They're very long, so the US torpedo attack is very effective. Now, I'm afraid to hit the friendly, so I'm going to pull off. It's just too dangerous, and you're going to witness something that I didn't think they'd actually do. They're going to crash into each other and blow each other up. But I'm going to pick on this Phoenix. He's got an island. He can't maneuver that well, and I'm going to take advantage of that. And I angled, use manual, and it looks like I'm going to get 4. Yeah, we get 4 torpedoes and kill him outright. He just boxed himself in. He didn't have the room to maneuver. And that's how you get another kill right there. It's, you always need to pick on these ships that put themselves in a bad spot, right? It's sort of the game telling you you're playing bad, is whenever a carrier kills you. It sounds so bad. I just feel bad when I load up the game, got my squadrons out, I'm hunting for a target that doesn't seem to want to maneuver, and kill him within the first 3 minutes of the game. It sucks for him. Thankfully, this Wyoming is playing smart. He heads to B to capture it. There's a ton of enemy at A. I want to be very careful. We've already knocked out their destroyer, so I don't need to spot a target. Most of the targets, battleships and cruisers, are easily spotted, either based on range or they're going to fire. So really my goal is rearm as fast as I can, have attacks going, and intercept any enemy squads that want to attack. And this Nicholas makes a huge mistake. I don't know if he knew the Phoenix had a torpedo system, but at least now he does. The Phoenix, the Omaha, those two U.S. cruisers have torpedoes. The Atlanta has torpedoes. So whenever you're going up against a U.S. cruiser, don't assume that they don't have torpedoes. They might, depending on the tier. Now there's 3 enemy battleships headed to B. Not looking good for the Wyoming. And Pinky over there, he's in between the battleships and that low health enemy cruiser. I hope he finishes the enemy cruiser. I really don't want to have to bomb the enemy cruiser. It's just so low health. I really would rather use my torpedo bombs on an enemy battleship that's relatively healthy. And they're sticking very close together, so I'm really excited about my torpedo system. It's perfect for these ships. Japanese battleships and US battleships both have weaknesses with speed and size, and we're just getting decimated by the enemy fighter squadron. I don't know what it is, but at least I'm keeping them off of, and my friendlies just flying casually past, and I was a little irritated, but you know what? I know my fate. I'm gonna lose that squadron. But it's a little slow, obviously. For some reason, that enemy cruiser is still alive, coming towards me and a friendly battleship and the friendly carrier. But I have to focus on my bombing run, which these guys are conveniently sailing very, very broad, very easy strike attack. Looks like we're going to land 4, maybe 5. We land 4. Ah, nice. Cause flooding. He should have damage control to stop the flooding, but we did do 25,000 points of damage. Hopefully that Congo can take out that enemy cruiser. One of the weaknesses of US carriers, at least early on, is their god-awful speed. You can't get out of an area. If an enemy locates you, they will kill you. No mercy, right? No mercy. So you need to see the movement of the enemy, and you need to try and take them out, or get a friendly to take them out. And I noticed that these guys were dropping off radar, so I moved my fighters to maintain target. It's very important. The game doesn't reward you. I think it's a mistake by Wargaming. They don't reward spotting like they do in World of Tanks. But keeping enemy ships spotted at all times while keeping your enemies Very little options is very strong, especially a destroyer. If you can keep a destroyer spotted, you've basically guaranteed the death of the destroyer. And they hate it, by the way. I hate it. I hate anytime I see this, because I don't know if you guys have done the math, but basically destroyer guns are so crappy that it would take them 3 minutes of constant fire, generally, on any full health squadron in order to take them down. It's just awful. They can't protect themselves from the ability of the fighters to spot them. So you're just... A lot of them just give up. They have their AA turned off and they try and sail away as quickly as you can. But as long as you're micromanaging, you can keep them spotted and provide a lot of help for your team. Now the enemy is not enjoying that I can see them. He's trying to kill my fighters. So I'm dragging him away from any AA that he might get from the enemy battleships. And then I'm going to let him engage with an ally. And then I'm going to be the little annoying gnat, trying to help kill it before it kills my ally. It's Congo, very fast battleship, so you need to lead much further than you would with like a US battleship, something like a Wyoming or a New York. Those are very slow, but the Congo is very fast. And we land 4 on the Congo, we cause flooding, and we damage some module, I'm not sure what. But we helped our battleship. Maybe he'll have a chance to destroy that Congo without it destroying my friendly carrier, or myself even. The Congo's going to take a huge attack, though. And I really want to keep him spotted, but I don't want to get him in AA range. I only have 1 fighter. It looks like the friendly battleship is maneuvering. It's very important as a battleship that you make it as hard as possible. The game basically says we plan on a torpedo making contact, but you have it in your power to minimize how many torpedoes make contact with your ship. Every battle, if it's available, increase AA range, both commander and module. Every time I see a torpedo or a dive bomber coming towards me, I try and turn to make it as hard as possible for them. And generally, I will take damage, that's for certain, but I'll minimize that damage to 1 to 3 torpedoes total, even with multiple squadron attacks. You just have to do a lot of evasive maneuvers, like in real life, in order to survive. The game's not designed where you just accept your fate and you take a full load of torpedoes. You're always going to lose to that. And this Wyoming is sailing towards me. I'm very afraid of this. I have my torpedo bombers ready to go. It's really hard on US battleships. They're very slow. And I'm going to take advantage of this. Now, I drop it very far back. One of his options is to turn into it. And I really only need to land 1 or 2 torpedoes. And he does turn into it. But I drop it so far back, he cannot get inside the activation range of torpedo bombers. As the battleship, your options are to turn immediately towards or away the aircraft before they even drop. That'll give you enough time to perhaps cause the player to have to readjust their attack path. Or, if they do drop, you will always be turning, and you can already work to minimize the damage you'll take. Another great technique that I like to do, sail with a friend. If you're in a battleship, and you're a crappy battleship with no AA, you should probably think about sticking with cruisers. And as a cruiser, you should make it your top priority to counter any carrier, early on at least. Minimize the aircraft they have access to, so late game, they're basically an empty ship sailing, right? I found a lot of effective tactics, both for and against carriers, that everyone needs to take advantage of in order to survive. So we've had a couple cruisers hounding these carriers all game, but they've been unsuccessful, and their failure is now complete, because both the carriers survive, and the cruisers are now dead. So it's just my friendly cruiser plus the 2 carriers versus that enemy battleship and their 2 carriers. Now we are losing right now. It's very important that I push my teammate over the edge. And to do that, I'm going to send my torpedo bombers. I'm going to assume his plan is he wants to fire on the friendly cruiser, and then he's going to try and move past the island. And you can see he's going very slow. And initially I was like, what is this guy doing? Why is he going so slow? But you can see, yep, he's kind of speeding up. His ship is moving a lot faster now. And I believe he's angling because he feels a torpedo attack's coming. Whenever you see them pre-angling, you can kind of compensate and have it lined up just right for whenever your torpedoes are in the ideal kill shot. And we send them out. We've got a great narrow spread because of the manual drop. And we get high caliber and we kill him. 3 enemy ships dead. We've helped our friendly cruiser. He's going to capture B. We have more points than the enemy, and they're just 2 aircraft carriers somewhere around A. We've basically locked up this game. And a lot of that is maintaining accurate attacks, identifying enemies that might be isolated. You don't want to pick on an enemy that's deep inside the enemy lines. And I see this torpedo. Probably their only chance is to kill the cruiser before he can capture. And all I want to do is I want to attack the torpedo bomber whenever he wants to attack the friendly cruiser, because this will cause him to be inaccurate. Defensive fire. The cruisers get that at tier 6, I believe. And fighters attacking enemy aircraft causes them to be inaccurate. Very inaccurate. And he lets out what looks like an automatic drop. Sometimes automatic drops will do these weird dispersion where it just looks like the AI has been smoking some weed or something, but cruiser safely can avoid. And I innocently am like, oh, I can rearm and send out my aircraft and they can go attack the enemy. But he's got a couple fighters. They're packed up, so they have good AA coverage between the 2. And I'm way away. There's no way he'll find me in time to do damage to me. My only goal at this point is to just try and harass the carriers, maybe get one. And this guy is awesome. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He has his fighter out, and he's sailing towards the enemy. It makes it very hard to drop with an accurate torpedo attack. You can see that the fighter is kind of slowing, putting the slow that fighters generally do on torpedoes, dive, enemy fighters, and his AA is in range to do a lot of work. Phoenix, Omaha, Cleveland, Pensacola, New Orleans, Baltimore, Des Moines. Great AA. So you need to be careful around cruisers. They are your counter, hardcore. I never, ever, ever go after cruisers unless they're really isolated. So this was the Bogue, U.S. carrier. Fewer squadrons, stronger squadrons than your Japanese counterpart. So if you enjoy RTS, if you enjoy, maybe you can't control a lot of squadrons at one time, maybe the US line is a little bit more manageable for you. So we got 3 kills, high caliber, did something like 115,000 points of torpedo damage with 7,000 flood damage, 1,844 base damage. It was a great game. I hope you enjoyed this battle. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.